we talked about the morning. We started with the presentation on innovation in media by Ivan Senior, and then we also heard about engagement. And then the previous session, we had a very interesting one on subscription, how different newspapers who are trying the digital subscription model. And then finally, we come to the last session. We are going to look about what is beyond advertising in terms of, making the digital business work. And for this, we have a speaker from Singapore, Rudy Lim. Unfortunately, there's some trouble with this video, so we can only hear Rudy's audio. Welcome, Rudy. Rudy Lim is the CEO of OIO in Singapore. He has coached and invested more than 20 startup ventures. He was previously head of fintech at DBS, and formerly he was with SPH, where he spearheaded Plug and Play program, a joint venture of SPH and the Silicon Valley-based startup accelerator called Plug and Play and Infocom Investments by the investment arm of Infocom Development Authority of Singapore. He's a strong believer in technology and is passionate about blockchain, and Rudy will help tell us about what is it in store for NFT for the news publishers. NFT looks like a kind of black box for us, and then Rudy will make it clear for us and then tell us more about it. It's all yours, Rudy. Take it here.
Thank you, Mantu. Yep. So very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Unfortunately, there are some technical issues with me sharing my video, so I hope that will not affect our presentation too much. Nevertheless, I would like to give my best to deliver the content over to everyone this evening in Singapore's night. So just a really quick introduction of myself. So I has always been a technological chef. The reason why I use a chef is because has always been very curious about how technology can solve problems. And that kind of brought me wanting to other into the blockchain space. And today we'll be discussing on NFT, and NFT can solve problems for publisher. I'm just trying to see it from that angle, how it can be of value for everyone listening in tonight. So as everyone would know, so Vignesh Sundaresan, I think somebody told me that he's actually from the Hindu, actually bought the Beeple, right, every day for the first 5,000 days NFT for $69 million. And obviously the question begs is, why did an artwork like an NFT, like this particular one, would sell for that much money, right? And obviously, I believe that in many aspects, NFT also are driven from a very speculative angle. And also another factor that's driving the speculation is the nature of how people have actually accumulated crypto wealth, over the years. And if you have seen, how Bitcoin and a bunch of all these cryptocurrencies have actually made money for individuals, and obviously with that accumulated wealth, the next question would be to ask is, how do I spend it? And I think the natural flow of the movement of this earned wealth, right, would be NFT, and of course. NFT came along the way conveniently into various platforms where people can actually invest their crypto wealth and purchase from a speculative measure once again into this space. And of course, I understand that there's a broad spectrum of understanding of NFT from the audience perspective, but just to bring everyone on the same page, I just have a quick description of what NFT is really about, right? So NFT actually stands for non-fungible tokens. Non-fungible tokens basically are a unique token, right? That is one of its own, one of its kind. Sorry, so it's not like a currency whereby every currency is served the same value, but token comes with in the form of a certificate, right? It's one of its own, one of its kind. And this NFT can be in the form of art, collectibles, memorabilia, sport cards, pictures, videos, music. So all this have the potential of becoming NFT, right? And also interestingly, NFT only had one owner. Right? Each NFT can only have one owner because there's only one NFT itself, right? Then obviously this owner can actually buy and sell, trade the NFT on a crypto marketplace, okay? Which I will share a little bit more on what are the different potential marketplaces that you guys can consider. And finally, NFT often takes the form of JPEGs, ML, MP3s, G files, and all that, right? But I have an interesting question for everyone. Do you think that the JPEGs and MP3s and all that are actually stored on the blockchain? Right, I could answer the question very quickly. Actually, the answer is no. They are not stored on the blockchain. So we have the misconception that the JPEG file, right, the entire file, it could be a very sophisticated piece of art of several megabytes to several gigabytes. It cannot be stored on the blockchain. So then the question backs, right? Where is the file stored? It's actually stored on the host. If it's OpenSea, it's stored on OpenSea. If it's on Mintable, it's stored on Mintable. Now, the more important question I like to ask everyone is, if your asset, your investment is stored on the platform, right, OpenSea, right, is it interchangeable? Can you take this asset to go onto another platform, like from OpenSea to Mintable, to sell it? Answer is no, right? And another question is, then what happens if this platform goes down, right? It shuts down. Then of course, good luck everyone. there goes your asset as well. So these are considerations, right? As we got really excited about this space, these are some of the things to think about. And of course, going into the NFT is not really as easy as snap and sell, right? Take a picture and sell it online. This is not your eBay. This is not, where you quickly, dish out, the NFT, right? It has a process to it, and the process even include, right, in all the things that I've shared with you on the slide, it includes, the ability to also be able to promote your NFT. That's why you see, like, key opinion leaders, influencers tends to be able to sell the NFT a lot better. Yeah. So just to quickly run through that process, really, you have to be able to choose a marketplace, rationalize why that marketplace, and then you connect your hardware to the marketplace, set it up so that you're able to receive the funds, the proceeds of the sale. Right, and then be able to select the content that you plan to dish out, right, on the marketplace. And what do you do, right? Well, in order to make that content into NFT is to pay a minting fee. Right, you pay a minting fee, you'll be able to mint that content into an NFT. And obviously, you have to set a bidding price, and hopefully it goes into some kind of bidding war that will actually appreciate the value of your NFT. And of course, the last two really important things is to be able to promote your NFT, targeting buyers, targeting followers, targeting fans of your product, of your production, of your, of the NFT that you're creating, right? And then obviously, whoever have purchased the NFT from you will be able to have the ownership of that NFT being sent to their hardware wallet. So this is generally the entire concept of and the process of how it works. But once again, it's really not as simple as what many people conceive it to be, as a snap and sell kind of process. And here are some of the more popular, marketplaces. Some you have to pay for it. Some you don't, like Mintable is more on the rev share model. It's on a successful sale, then they take a cut from the sale. And obviously some you just have to pay the minting fees. But what I also want to highlight is, when I mentioned about where do you put your work, right? It's just really thinking about whether, you are targeting very specific, a very open type of, NFT audience to very specific NFT audience. Like very open would be, like your OpenSea or Super Res and all that, where you can put your artwork there. To very specific ones, what I meant was like Top Shot. Top Shots basically are like your collectible versions of your NBA cards, during the good old days, where you buy from the shop, you tear it open, and you got really excited when you get, a rare Michael Jordan, slam dunk picture. So Top Shot is the NFT version of that, and I think they are doing really, really well these days. So you can also consider thinking about, having your own marketplace, because when you have your own marketplace, you are able to have more control over things like the features you want to provide, your pricing plan that you want to create, and even create royalties, right? Like the more times the NFT gets traded, right, the more you earn. So there's longevity to that business. And of course, for a marketplace, you get to earn transaction fees as well. But guys, before you get really excited about creating marketplaces of your own, you have to ask yourself earnestly and honestly, do you have the critical mass? Do you have enough inventory? So we will get into the rux of that. So basically, the first question I would like to ask is, who actually benefit from NFT then? if you look at the luxury world, LVMH and other good brands actually issuing digital certificates, right, to authenticate the product that somebody has purchased over the blockchain. In the art world, in the example of Beeple, 5,000 days, it has been sold for $69 million, and it's something whereby it got so much eyeball because of internet. Vis-a-vis, if you put the same piece of art in a gallery, there's a limited exposure. So the art world has benefited tremendously because it has a digital access. The music world is very interesting because when it boils down to licensing, it's about selling the license in the form of NFT, and anybody who purchased the music would be able to pay royalties back to the original creator of that content. And in the sports world, Deloitte actually predicts that there is a lot of room for NFT because they are looking at the ability to generate at least 2 billion in transactions this year. So then the question begs, that if all this different world would benefit from NFT, then what about the publishing world? How could the publishing world benefit from this opportunity of investing or creating NFTs opportunities, right? So the caveat is, before we all get really excited about jumping into this bandwagon, then we have to ask ourselves some prudent questions, like questions about how are we going to embark on this NFT journey. And what are the motives for doing this? And do we have a definite monetization model for NFT, or do we even need to have one? And I will discuss this, in the next couple of slides. There is a trump card that I feel publisher holds, just based on the observations that we have through various consulting with various clients. And that trump card that a lot of the digital creators don't have is this: historical moments. Okay, so publishers out there, has a very rich archive of historical moments in their records, in their library. And my question is, in looking at NFT, it would potentially give second life to all these archive photographs, which could potentially just rot away in the library and create no longer much value, because nobody would just buy a piece of archive material on its own, right? But then in the form of an NFT, in the form of some kind of ownership, there is an opportunity to give such archive graphics a second life. And we are talking about very, very interesting moments that are priceless, right? Like assassinations of the Gandhis, India's Independence Day, or even the publisher's own very first copy, up to the point of the PM being elected. And people want to have a piece of that history. And NFT will be awesome because it gives that certification, it gives that authentication, and it gives the owner, the acknowledgement that I am the one that holds the very one and only copy in the entire world. And obviously, we can play out, the historical moments when it comes to sports, right? I mean, there are the cricket grades. There are the opportunity to showcase a huge collectible value, just as much as like how NBA Top Shots has monetized in the last couple of months. Probably have been around for more than a year. And NBA Top Shot has just reinvented something that was very, very old-fashioned. It was just, the little cards that we buy, and then we peel open the package, and we were really excited. And those are like 20, 30 years old. And I believe that, certain sports today has a lot more, good moments that are captured in the historical archive that deserve to be resurfaced and resold as NFT to the rest of the world, but they don't have access right now because it's not available. And there are some very creative use of NFT by different publishers. Time magazines, for example, case in point, they are actually doing, they created a new version of NFT. If you look on the rightmost, is fiat date, is that brand new version. It has never existed before. Version 1 and version 2 is God date and is truth date, are real actual copies of the Time magazine. The third one is a creation, is a brand new version that's never existed. Now, my point is this. If we are deciding between, featuring things that we already have or creating something new, well, nothing stops you from being creative and do A/B test, right? In this case, there's A on the left, there's physical existence of this magazine, and B, a brand new version. And the good news is all three of them, sold up to $138,000 each. So this is something whereby, guys, we do not have the answers, but nothing harms us to just give it a shot and try. This is another expression from Time where they were actually selling, the Man of the Year. And obviously Charles Lindbergh in this example was being featured as he flew the first solo transatlantic flight from New York to Paris in 33.5 hours. This copy was actually being sold for $463,000. So a very simple NFT that is actually coupled with a physical copy. So yes, a physical copy is actually sold together with the NFT to the owner, and it's sold for $463,000. And I think the beautiful part of this concept is this NFT can be continued to be traded, right? And then the person knows that the underlying asset is actually a real physical collectible copy. And of course, not our publishers out there are looking at a pure monetization model, right? In the case of South China Morning Post, they have this thing called the artifacts. And what the artifacts aim to do is to capture historical moments that is not meant to be monetized, right? But more of acting as a guardian of history, right? So really, guys, think about, then having to see all these examples. What is your objective when you enter into the space of NFT? So the next question we back to ask, right? Okay, if we were to ever do NFT, who is going to buy it? And remember when we started this conversation, we were really looking at how there's actually pent up wealth in the crypto space, and obviously these are the guys that are thinking about how I can spend my wealth. And it was reported just last year. Almost $41 billion was spent on NFT, $41 billion. But then if I want to just add up the numbers, right, there's actually 3 trillion worth of crypto in circulation, right? So from a billion to a trillion, there's really a lot of room to spend. And this is the reality of how much crypto wealth has been accumulated over the years. And I think NFT is a very easy mechanism for crypto heads to get access to. It's very aligned with the way they look at cryptocurrencies from a speculative perspective. So if there's an opportunity to actually purchase very treasured, very prized archive images from publisher, I think there's still room for growth. And of course, when we want to do this endeavor, we really have to, think about what are really the key success factors, for us to be able to launch a decent NFT project into the marketplace. And based on some observation, be it in the form of gamification, guardianship, or just pure creation of a new NFT content, right? We need to understand, we have a clear, defined, actionable methodology. How are we going to do this? Are we going to, aggregate, 50 years of, say, a specific publisher's first January copy and create the one and launch it on a January? Or are we going to say, we take one really exemplary copy and ask an artist to add a digital hand, a digital manifestation on it, and manufacture a brand new NFT copy. So we need to understand what we're trying to offer to the marketplace that we believe will be very, very valuable, very collectible. Okay, and then we need to understand the other thing, which is really about commitment, right? So if we think that this is a strategy, it's important to also see it through and make sure that it's properly endorsed and supported, right, by the management to make sure that we can rally enough fans, followers, and supporters to support that strategy to buy into the NFT proposition. Because you guys must remember, it's not about selling the NFT one time and forget about it. It's about selling the NFT and keep it traded, keep having people coming in to bid for that copy, and then that will elevate the price and the value of the NFT that you're trying to sell. And of course, to have that community, right, to have that passionate team of believers, in order to move closer towards, the success of this initiative. And finally, guys, this is, in my opinion, a very opportunistic play, right? It's not going to be, something where the same thing that you think about could be successful 5 years down the road or even 3 years down the road. So it's really about speed. Now, speed is important because, to some of the clients that we met, right, they will be thinking, should I create my own marketplace? Well, 6 months type of conversation. Or should I just launch my NFT on existing marketplace? Okay, 6 weeks type of conversation. So you have to weigh the pro and con in terms of speed to market. Back to OIO, so we have a discovery process to understand, how we can do this project, right? So number one is, once again, what is the need that we are trying to address? Is it really from guardianship? Is it really from, a thematic play where we just focus on sports, like cricket? We need to understand what exactly are we doing here. Then we can actually design, the correct approach. Are we going to available marketplaces and just use that marketplace? Or are we going to, build our own marketplace? And if the answer is we're going to build our own marketplace, then you probably need an experienced team of developers to develop it for you. And once you develop it, then you have to operationalize, go live, bug fix, make sure the securities are all in. As you know, recently there is all these phishing issues with OpenSeason and several other marketplaces getting hurt in different ways. So I don't think you want to be a victim of that. And eventually, obviously, having to transfer the entire authority and management of that marketplace back to the IT team in-house. So this is kind of the journey that we take with our clients. And why OIO? So OIO is actually a Singaporean company. It's a public listed company with the Singapore Stock Exchange. And it's one of the first company that's actually dealing with blockchain engineering. We have a dedicated team, at least 3 years and more in terms of blockchain experience. So not just on knowing how to code in blockchain, but also have seen enough projects to not get us wasting time pursuing the wrong path. Right? They are kind of the subject matter expert. And proprietary methodology, one of which we've shared earlier, is to really understand from the discovery perspective what we are building today, and so that we don't have to do too much back and forth and waste any more resources or time. And obviously, we strive to be a one-stop kind of service agency, because I know that if we have too many chefs, it will spoil the dish. So we wanted to be at least, the go-to channel for one-stop food service. So that's very much us. If you guys want to get in conversation, just want to check out, the opportunity with NFT, happy to just have a quick call, and then we can discuss how, NFT could benefit you, and then potentially how you can roll it out in the form of a project. Yeah. Okay, Mantu, I have completed my presentation. Over back to you.
Thank you, Rudy. I have several questions to ask you, Norman, but I'll ask few of them, and there are a few questions from the audience also.
Okay.
The ones related to, maybe I can combine the one I have and then with the what I have from the audience. Is NFT only for companies with long history, for example? New companies, startups. So I'm talking about publisher. So is NFT relevant in their case? Related to that, the question for the audience, can we make daily news content as an NFT? So that means like somebody doesn't have history, maybe if I'm new, and then can my daily news can become an NFT? So what's your call on that?
Okay, so there's actually 2 points in that. One is for startup company or very young publisher, right? Can NFT be a consideration? I think for that question, I would really differ more towards do you actually have confidence in getting critical mass? Right. Basically, you need to have enough people going to the marketplace, or if you're launching something, you have enough fans and followers to purchase NFT, right? There's enough interest to generate, some kind of a bidding war to elevate the price of the NFT that you launch. I think that's the only way to be profitable. And the other question is whether you want to publish news on a regular basis and make all of them NFT. I think NFT right now, it's really on the ability. It's a speculative play at this point in time. So then when it comes to things that are speculative, you're looking at that piece of news or the piece of that photograph or that shot of a sports moment. Is it collectible? Because that translates to the value of how much people is willing to pay for it. So if you're going to flood with content or images that doesn't really strike a chord with the audience in terms of it being a kind of a product that they can collect and hope for the value of it to appreciate in the near term or in the future, then it's just another piece of NFT that's going to sit and collect dust on the shelf, if I may say. Yeah.
No, in terms of the audience, publishing companies, readers, or can they become an audience? Like you mentioned about crypto enthusiasts, crypto users, but I'm not sure how many of those crypto users are newspapers audience. So do you think that it's kind of a completely new profile of users, not the regular existing advertisers or like readers of the media company, right? Like so who are the real audiences? Like how do companies make them interested? Those guys may have a different, like those fellows who mean crypto enthusiasts who invest in cryptos may be different from what the reader profile that publishers are used to. So what's the call on that?
I think it's an intersection between an opportunistic play to know that if I were to buy something like this, there is going to be the opportunity to profit from it, right? Because the value might appreciate. And the other part is being your fan, right? So if I have been your fan, I've been your audience for a long time, been supporting your content, then it's an emotional thing, because the moment you launch it, right, I want to have a piece of it. And if you could tell me where I can get it, right, I may potentially go there and buy it. And then when I reach there and then I can see people bidding on it, right, there might be some triggers emotionally to also participate in the bidding endeavor, and so that I can actually get my hands on a copy of it, So I think it's really an intersection between, an opportunistic call and an emotional call. Yeah.
Okay, maybe I have just 2 questions before we wind up. One is about the copyright of the content. Now when something is sold as an NFT, does the copyright go off from the publisher? What form does it take?
Well, I think it's really from the publisher. The publisher is the owner, right? So then obviously the publisher will dedicate the copyrights in the form of the NFT to the new owner who has purchased it. Otherwise, then the publisher can make it very clear that, I'm creating a digital version that is replicated in 3 copies, and there's only 3 copies in this world. Then it's very clear when I'm buying, right? I'm buying one of the 3 copy, and there will be a specific registration numbers that's tied to that copy that only one owner can own.
Yeah. Okay. In terms of various kinds of NFT, the one is a very unique NFT where, there is some part of the history, which is very unique, for one particular user. Whereas, some publishers have tried to have collectibles, like, maybe, one particular event, they may have 50 of those collectibles. How does it work? So is it kind of diluting what the NFTs are originally trying to do, or should it be no? NFT must be like single unique tokens. Like your view on this, please.
Okay, so are you saying that there can be multiple tokens representing one copy or one entity? Absolutely, absolutely. So say from the perspective of licensing, right? That's why just now the question was, what is the motivation of doing this? So if the motivation is to sell licenses, right? So the same copy I can create a 3 months NFT license, 6 months NFT license, 1 year NFT license, and I sell it off, and then like media buyers could just, or advertisers would just come and say, I just want to buy the rights of this for 6 months, and then you get the form of the license in the form of an NFT, yeah. And then there's a validity to the NFT. So after 6 months it expires. Then of course you can have multiple NFTs.
Okay, yeah, fine. In fact, I mean, what I was saying recently is that, like limited editions, like some publishers in US have come up with, on particular event, where there is a, Super Bowl event or something, they come up with 50 limited edition collections, which are of the same, and then, trying to sell it at a very low price. And so, okay.
Yeah, so absolutely, like if you have one limited edition, and you want to sell 50 NFT of it, so it's like 001, 002, all the way to 50. Absolutely no issues at all. It really depends on the strategy, because sometimes people think that if you have one and only one, and that is going to create the value of that, it may or may not be true, because probably that one and only one will sell for X dollar, but 50 times, just a small amount of that same copy, you might actually get more at the end of the day. Yeah.
Okay. Now, maybe one last question. How about the technology required? Like, who mints? Like, does a publisher have to, have his own team that will mint, and then who mints, and what kind of technology required? If you want to get somebody else to get in there.
Well, actually, it's not extremely sophisticated to mint the NFT. You can go to the various marketplaces. I believe they have proper instruction training videos to teach people to mint on their platforms. I think that the question is not so much on minting on existing marketplaces, but to create your own marketplaces. Then obviously you need very, very astute team of engineers. Because otherwise you'll be open to hacks, to phishing, to frauds, and a whole bunch of issues if you do not know how to manage your marketplace.
I think this the fake and then counterfeit NFTs, and security threats are large in NFT. I think that requires a very careful consideration. You agree?
Exactly. Yeah, and yeah, I mean, to your point, sometimes we do not know whether you do really have the original artist selling the NFT, or it's actually a fake personnel. Yeah. So there must be a way to authenticate.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Rudy. That's all the time we have for today. And I think this is a wide subject, and which everybody is wanting to know. It's like a black box, and then I think you tried to. You deciphered large part of it. I'm sure the discussion gone long. And thank you for joining from Singapore. And then we had a pleasure having you and talking to you about this interesting topic of NFT. I'm sure that NFT will become one of the business models that newspaper publishers should embrace in future, and from now on to the future. Thank you, Rudy. Yeah.
Appreciate it, Magdo, for having me.
Yeah. So, participants, with this, we come to the end of Digital Media India 2022 conference. We thank you all for joining the conference. We have posted the feedback form in the live Q&A panel. Request you to please answer them, because your feedbacks is very important for us to improve for the next edition of the conference. So please don't miss it. And all the available presentations and the recordings of the sessions will be available to you shortly. We'll send you an email about how to access them. I think already several videos of the last 3 days are already posted in our event portal. Please look at them when you have time. And I'd like to thank all our speakers today, Rudy, and then all the previous speakers in the last 3 days for taking time and sharing their knowledge and insights with us. It is wonderful. Our speakers are our backbone, without whom this program would not have been possible. Equally, our sponsors, thanks to Google News Initiative, Stibo DX, Piano, and Yolok, and our supporting publication, Indian Printer and Publisher, G Express, RIN Survey, all about newspapers. Without all their support, this program would not been possible. And thanks to my colleagues, Vijayalakshmi and Suresh and Neha, and then who are at the back end, putting this together. And thank you all for this program. Thank you all for joining today, and thank you for all the support. And our next event will be Indian Media Leader East Summit in the month of June. We'll soon come up with the details. Please follow us on our website and also in our social media channels, and then stay updated for more regular programs from WAN-IFRA. So we have exciting programs lined up for rest of the year. I hope to see you all soon in another event. Thank you and wish you all a good evening, and bye-bye for now.